Hello guys, this week we're looking at my personal favourite DOS games. Hi guys, this week we're looking at my personal favourite DOS games. Now before we get started, don't forget to subscribe, like and share with all your friends, and thank you so much for joining us here today on this week's video. Now I was going to do a sort of a video looking at the best games coming out this year or video games coming out next year, but personally I thought we'd go with something that I'm personally more passionate about, and we thought we'd hit that niche. Now, something really important to know, if you don't know this already, I've always loved DOS games. DOS game. I think it's probably because I was sort of brought up on it, and I'm of that sort of age in my early 30s where I was brought up in, the days of Atari and Sega games and DOS games on the PC, so I suppose it's always had a bit of a place in my heart. Later on in this video, I will tell you what probably one of my favourite, if not my favourite DOS game of all time is, but you have to watch the rest of this video to find out. So, my favourite DOS games, let's look over some ones that hit me straight in the head, complete opposite to what I call Dumbledore. And the first game that always pops into mind when I talk about DOS is obviously the legendary shooting games, things like Doom, which I've talked about before in previous videos. Obviously Blake Stone, I don't know if you've ever played that. That was like a futuristic shooter game. It was like, intruder, man! What I liked about that is you had sort of scientists that would help you out. You go up to them, sometimes it would go, intruder, and it would start shooting you, or it would help you out and give you a key which led to the next part of the level, or a secret, or whatever. Obviously, I can't talk about DOS games without mentioning Wolfenstein. I think that's, that alongside Doom have to be two of the games that really took off gaming in that sector of gaming personally, and I think a lot of people agree with that Doom was one of the first, actual games. I know you could go back to Space Invaders, but that's different. And we like the early Duke Nukem games. They were awesome, especially later on with Duke Nukem 3D, which was an awesome game. Damn, rip up a new one. And that was a bad impression, Dave. But yeah, Duke Nukem 3D was an awesome game. And obviously, you could argue, was it DOS game or was it early Windows 95? The early Need for Speed games, they were really good. Now obviously, you could play one of my first FIFA game, FIFA 97. What a game. I love that. I won't do an impression of that because that'd just be awful. Earlier Civilization games were very key to my heart. Now, though technically I used to play in Windows 97, CivNet, which was Civilization 1.2, which basically meant slightly better graphics, and you could technically connect to people online or over a network or whatever it was. But for me, CivNet was one of these games that I always go back to, and what a game. It was just brilliant. You could build your own empires, you could name your own towns, you had to keep the people happy, you build your armies, you'd make alliances. It was just all about empire building, and it was just so much fun. And I even play it occasionally today, which is brilliant. Another game that's just hit me now is Red Alert. What was it? Unit lost, unit ready. What was it? It was a good game. That was obviously a much more basic game, but it was great. And I know loads of people, loads of you guys have enjoyed playing Red Alert over the years. The way you could just build your base, you could just take out your men, blah, blah, blah. And let's just think of other ones. Slightly later on Windows 95. Knocking out a few mentions, things like Age of Empire, later on with Stronghold, Warcraft goes without saying. I suppose you could argue the first one is sort of DOS, so that sort of counts, I suppose. But for me, the second one was probably the best of the older ones. Okay, we're going to the part of the video where I tell you my personal favourite DOS game of all time. One game that I always think about whenever I think about DOS games, or I talk about DOS games, or just bring them up in conversation, is always LucasArts' The Dig. And I could do a whole video on this. It was just brilliant. It was a point and click game. Just to knock out a few mentions. Hugo, if you ever played that, which I remember, I think it was the second one, you crash landed in a rainforest. And it was a point and click game where you had to sort of point where your character went, type in what actions you wanted them taking. There was different versions of Indiana Jones. Discworld, what a game. How can I forget? The Dig, it was a point and click game, but it was an adventure game. they were as well. But you was Captain Low with his little merry men. No, it was basically NASA, and an asteroid was coming towards Earth, going to destroy the Earth. I know a lot of films have been made on this, but it was a song about it. It starts off with this incredible, bear in mind it was made in like 94, 95, this incredible cinematic intro. It was like watching a film, you know, credits, and they were talking about how they had to save the Earth from this asteroid, otherwise everybody was going to perish. It was just way ahead of its time. You didn't see stuff like that till way years later, when, like, you know, the Xboxes were coming out and PlayStation, all the rest of it. The later PlayStations, personally. But it was just way ahead of its time. And then the fact you got catapulted light years away to this alien planet, and you had to find your way home, you and 2 of the crew members. And it was just you could click on them and ask them, you know, give them ideas, or give them to help you with tasks. You had to solve lots of puzzles. The characters have these really cool interactions. It was like watching a film, or maybe a TV series. It just at my age, it just blew my mind. It just captured my imagination on so many levels. And I've always liked space anyway, as the people of you out there that know me personally, I've the best DOS game of all time. For me personally. So thank you very much for watching. Feel free to comment below what DOS games that you've enjoyed over the years, or would like to play, or have played, or what ones you recommend. If there's any ones I've forgotten that I'll probably think of when I'm editing this video, please feel free to mention them in the comments. I'd be really interested to see what you guys think. And if you like this DOS video, tell me, and I may make more DOS videos. That'd be cool too. And don't forget to click on the links on the side of the video, wherever they are, and they will take you to other, you know, gaming videos and filmmaker tips. And click the little TVR Universe logo to subscribe to the channel. And again, don't forget to subscribe, tell your friends, share it with the world. And finally, thank you so much for watching. Your support really does make the TVR Universe. You guys rock!